I want to be an outline of what inspiring high risk individuals looks like. Because like I'm literally the data, and I work with the data pool. I've been working with and in the data pool for 30 plus years. So having that, I feel like I have a cheat code being a former short bus rider myself.
Welcome to HBCU for You podcast. My name is Galen Turner, and today we have Micah O. Briggs Sr., who is more than a proud Jackson State University graduate. He's a poet, author, educator, youth advocate, and a man whose life really speaks to the power of transformation. Raised in Omaha, Nebraska, Micah has lived through abuse, trauma, violence, and hard life lessons that could have broken him. But instead of letting those experiences define him, he turned them into fuel for purpose, healing, and service. Today, he brings over 30 years of experience in youth advocacy, education, and violence prevention. And he uses his story to pour into others through mentorship, writing, speaking, and faith. He's also earned his master's degree in youth and family outreach from John Brown University and is the founder of Mind Over Barriers LLC, where he helps equip youth, families, and communities with tools for lasting change. He's a husband, a father of eight, and most importantly, a living example of what it looks like to break cycles and walk in purpose. Please help me welcome my brother and friend, Micah O. Briggs Sr. What's up, my guy?
What's going on, brother? Thanks for having me.
How you doing? So let's address the
I'm
elephant in the
well. I'm
room.
well.
Let's address the elephant in the room. Yes, he's in the garage. No, it's not my fault. Don't blame me
Totally in
when
the
I
garage. Brother, okay, disclaimer. I am in the garage because you got Jeremiah, Josiah, Asada, and Uriah. Uriah's getting his hair done in the living room slash
yes.
kitchen, so that's out of bounds. People are taking baths. All of the children. My wife has got that living room kitchen locked down. So that
So
means plan B.
bro is doing what he's got to do. I
Hey, this is
appreciate you,
plan B.
man.
I gave you my word. We still made it happen, and I was on time. What?
Yes, you
Let's go.
were. You
Let's
were.
go. Stop.
Let's
Hey,
go.
hey, don't do that. Don't look shocked. Like, don't do that.
No,
Come
no,
on.
no. You good. You good. We've been knowing each other for almost 30 years, bro.
Yeah. Wow.
98. Fall 98, man.
Almost 3 decades, sir.
It's been a while, bro. It's been a while. All right, let's jump right into the questions,
Let's
man.
do it, sir.
For the people just meeting you, how would you describe the journey that shaped the man that you are today?
The journey that shaped the man I am today. I would describe it literally as the long ride on the short bus, the novel that I'm still working through. But you know what? I would describe it as kind of like a picturesque, the gospel of Frankie Beverly and Mays, the joy, pain, sunshine, and the rain, and being able to see the forest for the trees through all of that. Like when you skip through all of that, the stuff that hurt and heal are not in competition. Like they coexist. And so being able to make sense out of that so that I don't lose my mind, that's kind of where I am in this space. Like, whoa, everything happened for a reason, whether it was drastic or just divine. Like everything had its purpose, and some I don't know the answers to, and I'm not going to pretend like I do, and I'm not going to lose my mind trying to understand everything because that's not what I'm here for. I'm trying to understand right now, this moment, how I'm gonna make it to the next one.
Thank you. That's eloquently put. You spoke of the unknowns. At what point did you come to that point where you've accepted the unknowns? Because I would imagine at some point it bothered you. When and how did you come about accepting that?
You know what? The most recent example of how I came to that. Um, I was on my way to a job interview, had to get the kids to school. So everything had to happen at a certain time so that I get to do this interview. I'm making this first impression that's going to be lasting,
Right.
but I'm also trying to keep a level of consistency for my children and having them in their routines.
Right.
And it wasn't working out in my routine or the grand scheme of things. So I went video game in real life, and I got low, and I was getting there. I was on my way, and I knew it. Like, I probably should slow down. Like, not reckless, but
Right.
I'm pushing. And as I'm pushing, I'm just like, I said this. I'm like, shoot, I do not want to get no tickets. I'm just like, and I hit this hill, and foop, I spoke that thing as though it was. And that joker busted a U-turn and was on me. And he came all aggressive and hostile. And in my mind, I'm just like, I brought this on myself. I saw this coming. I talked about it, and I'm just like, this can't be younger Micah, because that
Right.
means my children are going to be traumatized. I can't
Yes.
go to war with him because I might not live to see the end of it.
Right.
I've got now. I'm the life lessons are kicking in. How do I handle this in the best way? So he comes to
Right.
the window, amped. Man, what are you doing driving like this? He's coming in.
Yeah.
I said, sir, I apologize. I'm 1,000% in the wrong. I promise you, I'm asking for grace I don't deserve. He was like,
Right.
I don't want to hear none of that, man. He's snapping. Now,
Yeah.
I'm not going too fast, too furious. I'm probably 9 miles over the speed limit. But he
Yeah.
giving me the aggression, and guess what? I'm eating this bowl of humble pie because my daughter's already crying.
Right.
Asada's crying, and Uriah is shook. They see the lights, and they're looking at the officer, and they're shook. So I'm getting as calm, and nothing in me is calm at all. My
Yeah.
heart's beating. I'm angry, but I knew, man, I got what's coming to me. Man, I wish I would have slowed down. And he totally ignored the whole, if I could get some grace I don't deserve. Nobody want to hear all that,
Yeah.
all this
Yeah.
hollering. He comes back after he gets all my information, and he was like, Mr. Briggs, you really need to slow down, man. You got a good investment back there. And he handed me the ticket. He was like, I see you got a lot on the line, man. Just be safe. So he had went to a human level with me. And so
Yeah.
before I take it out of park, I open it. Warning, balance zero. That
Right.
ain't no long, long time ago. That was like, dude, how many times you gonna take God's miracles and act like it's normal? What?
Right.
Stop playing and look at your life. All these miracles that you just brush off like it's supposed to be like that. No, it's not. Like I
Yeah.
earned that ticket,
Right.
but I didn't get it. So just wanting to do better, to drive slower, to get up
Right.
earlier so that I can beat all of that, which means doom scrolling less, going to sleep, or like all these things that have to fit together. Let me stop rambling.
No, no, no. That's beautiful. Beautiful. You've been very open about overcoming abuse, trauma, violence, and loss. At what point did you realize your pain could be turned into purpose?
The first time I experienced it was after my first time doing poetry in public on a stage in 1997. Um, that was when I wrote my first um, auto therapeutic expression. That's what I would call it. Because I didn't realize that by writing it, I would hurt less
Right.
and I would be able to, excuse me, see more perspective, understand more just by not holding it in and writing it. So I
Right.
wrote this piece called Lost in the Labyrinth of Life. And it was like this love letter to my unborn son and like um this reckoning of, man, it's a lot of things that hurt on the inside and I don't want my hurt to harm you. So when I wrote it, I had to keep rewriting it because, man, the ink was all smeared because I was crying, and
Right.
it was just because prior to that I was just writing stuff for fun. It was a love. It was this embrace of hip hop. Like hip hop made me think about the red, black, and green. I didn't know who Stephen Biko was. I didn't know Ida B. Wells. These people. I learned about Joseph St. Q and all of these people because of hip hop. Richard Nixon and Watergate. I was learning this stuff. COINTELPRO and crack cocaine. I learned all that stuff. The Red Dog Police. I learned all that stuff from hip hop. But for me, it was so much more fun just battle rapping and all those types of things and going back and forth, fun, jazzy stuff to say. So that's all I had notepads full of. But
Right.
that day, when I was breaking down thinking, I don't want to be a horrible father. I'm scared.
Right.
I I'm not making no money at Ruby Tuesday. I can't pay for college. I can't drop out of college. It was so much happening. And being
Right.
able to get that piece out, I went to a place called Highlights, which was a club that was across the street from Tougaloo. And I read it. I got all the bugs out. And the audience just embraced me with love, and people were crying. Like I got hugs, and it wasn't like, hey, we're fanning out. It wasn't. It was like we connected and resonated. Like your hurt is my hurt, buddy. Like I feel
Right.
that. That was the first time I ever saw it, and it wasn't like I want to say something to make people smile or think I'm cool or think I have a skill. It was just my hurt in writing and now expressing it, and it got me some hugs and what seemed like some community, a small community of people that cared.
Cool. Cool. So it sounds like poetry was part of your healing process as
Oh,
well.
absolutely. Poetry and hip hop, but being able to embrace it as a holistic form. Like, wait a minute, let's take, even if I'm doing it over a beat, let's take the stuff that breaks my heart and the stuff that makes my heart somersault, and let's
Right.
put that in between these bars and let's make that work. So whether it's a poem with these stanzas or whether it's a bunch of bars, what if we make them count with the real stuff that helps and heals me? So making it more personal and not just saying something to get a reaction. Because most of what I did before was it was really me screaming out of my insecurity. I'm saying anything to get your attention off me and to think that this person is less than me or
Right.
not as skilled as me. It was a very self-absorbed way of abusing hip hop for less than honorable means. It was
Mm,
like a fake placebo self-esteem boost, but not
gotcha.
real.
Gotcha. Now, me knowing you, I know just through our conversations that poetry was a part of your healing, but the other part of your healing was actual therapy, and you
Oh,
came to
absolutely.
that in your late 30s. What made you finally pursue therapy, growth, and mental freedom in your late 30s?
You know what? The first time I pushed myself into a therapeutic environment was while I was in graduate school. I had my heart broken by one of my spiritual heroes, right? Person that I was just extremely close to, like had totally nullified our friendship and our bond, and tried to come at me in a sexual way. And it was like, what? I've known you like 20 years, and this is how you come at me? Like, it
Right.
blew my mind. I was so disappointed and so hurt. I didn't really know how to handle it because this was for me. This guy was like he was a spiritual hero. So
Right.
that's where I could see my immaturity and like, hey, discipleship is great and community is great, but in all of that, hey man, you got to just be digging in this word and taking this word and saying, hey, the way that God gave me an auto mechanic who can fix my car, the way God gave me this doctor so that when I'm going through different things, there's an exam. Hey, what about getting some help with these thoughts and these feelings that I don't have control over? And it was during that season I had abused so much alcohol and weed and was just kind of spiraling back into sexual addiction, just with connecting with women and not having a regard for all these consequences of emotion and feelings and even potential children. Like I was not loving me or caring for me. And in that spiraling out of control, I was just breaking down and I didn't want to die. And my
Right.
roommate in graduate school, John Elmore, he was like, hey man, I've never met a guy like you before. Like, you don't even owe me no explanation or nothing. But I go to I go to these meetings to deal with addiction to alcohol, but they got 12 steps that can deal with any addiction. So if you want to come, and I started going just to Alcoholics Anonymous and AA meetings because of the steps.
Right.
And I started working through the steps and like having community with people that were sharing their anger, their fear, and their pain, but also not just their hope, but what are these steps to heal? Because it's not going to be an osmosis healing process.
Right.
Like
Right.
it's going to take some effort and some work. So that was
Just
my
going
first time getting connected to it, and eventually leading to actually going to regularly scheduled individual therapy, and then couples therapy, and marriage, family therapy.
right. I have a clarifying question. When you had that traumatic event happen to you, you mentioned that you were spiraling. Was that traumatic event the apex of your spiraling, or was that a trigger point to begin the spiraling that you may have experienced previously
I
in
would
your
say
life?
that was an apex spiral that kind of led me to fork in the road experiences because of me being as transparent about it. When I was questioned, like, have you broken any of the rules, like within graduate school? I was like, I absolutely broke the rules, like drinking, I was smoking weed, I was sexually involved with women, like all of those things.
Right.
I was about to get kicked out of the graduate school program I was in because there was a
That
spiritual component. So, like, all of those things, it was like, wow. So I'm about to lose. And so what was connected to that was there was a job working in my field, working in youth outreach, development, and ministry, but it was going to be
right.
in Baton Rouge right next to my firstborn son. So
Right.
all of those things were in the balance. Like I'm about to lose everything I've been fighting for. I'm trying to get this master's degree in this area, but I want to work right here by my son, the closest we've ever been. And the job was canceled, and I almost lost the master's degree as well. But the job with that proximity to my son was a heartbreak. And it was like I something had to give. I had to do something different. So it was like, wow, I've been crying and praying for an opportunity to be able to not just be close to my son, but to have the resources to care for him and his sister, like to be able to provide and be close. And to have that crushed, oh man, I knew I needed more. I need help outside of just me and outside of just my prayers. Like God is big enough, but God gave me this community and He put these facilitators of mental health and help around me. I just hadn't been using them.
Fantastic. For context, I would love for you to expound on your graduate program because you slipped in there something that's atypical for graduate school. It sounded like you had rules and regulations you had to abide by as far as no drinking, no smoke. So, can you expound upon that? Because, as you may know, that's not a typical
Right, right. That's
rules.
not the norm.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
the graduate program I was in, it was like this combination of when summer camp connects with the college world and these two worlds are together, you can have like a ministry program and a graduate program that are combined. So there was like a discipleship program with like intensive research and study of the Old and New Testament and Greek and Hebrew and goodness gracious, the number of topics and subtopics that you cover. But mix that with the youth and family outreach and ministry program through this graduate degree program for the master's degree. So you got both of them. And if you break the rules within this, because you're living there, like you live on that campus. So there are all of these, like there's the same rules that would apply for this Christian inner city camp are the same rules that apply while you're in graduate school as independent adults that are not independent, that have roommates that they don't pick and all that kind of stuff. Yes.
gotcha. Thank you for
So just for
sharing.
some more context.
No, appreciate
But it
that.
was an amazing situation. Like to it was like trying to sip wisdom from a civil rights fire hydrant. It was so much information, good information, but the magnitude and the force of how it was coming was like overwhelming. Mix that
Right,
with what's happening in life and disappointment and all these types of things. And it was the perfect storm. It was the perfect
gotcha.
storm. And that led me to starting to go to those 12-step meetings with other people and being open and sharing. And then eventually that would elevate to where I was getting some individual counseling.
Great segue. With that being said, sounds like counsel was a part of the question I'm about to ask you.
Okay.
How did faith, therapy, and community work together in your life help you break destructive cycles?
Faith, therapy, and community. So with the faith component, to be able to still have this pricking, nagging at my heart, and like voices that are inside of me that are still telling me to fight for my life and still giving me good advice, good counsel, and giving me good direction. But then where that combines with the people that I'm intentionally placing myself around, do those people share those same convictions and share a care for me that they, even more than wanting to hang out with me and have fun with me, want to see me healthy and want to see me grow and want to see me be a better father and better person. And then understanding that for all of these years, I've been juggling some of these things, and it's been like trying to juggle dangerous objects. Like it's never going
Right,
to be a win. And so
right,
when I was able to accept that I needed help outside of myself and that having help with my mental, my emotional, my psychological is not an indictment of being crazy or insane. It
right,
is an indictment that I think differently and I need help and I need support. And I'm just finally at a place where I don't have to have on a mask and pretend like I'm okay anymore. And
right,
so having those people in my life that were just like, hey, you need help.
right,
You're hurting and you're better than this and we love you, but this is not you or this is not helping you.
right,
Um, and being able to finally listen to them before
right,
uh, these big trips of trauma that I would take myself on.
right.
So I think that's kind of where everything worked together.
Fantastic. You tied in faith, you tied in therapy, the community work aspect. Talk about that a little bit and the work
You know what?
you did,
Um,
and I'm sure that was therapeutic for you as well. So talk
it
a little bit
was.
about that.
I'm saying it was and is. It is. It's so much intentional on the clock and off the clock accountability
Hmm.
because any day, anytime, no matter where I'm at, I bump into the parents of my students and
Right,
my students as children who shouldn't be up at certain hours of the night, but also as adults with their children and without their children in traffic
right,
and wanting to be light in a dark place and wanting to be able to receive that same light from them. That's been helpful. But some of the toughest points of my life, the the things that would keep me holding on was that hope that things would be better even if I'm gone in the children I'm around and in the people that I'm working with, like co-workers and supervisors that really cared about what they were doing. Oh man, it was iron sharper than iron.
right,
But then whether it was Stupak Community Center or the Rock Ministries in Philadelphia, like Kids Across America camps, like wherever we were, if it was the Mike Amped in New Orleans, like all these different places, Boys and Girls Clubs, but like all of these hubs of people, the trio programs and Upward Bound with Jackson State, but these people that were like, hey, we care about the generation after us, even if we're not around to benefit
right,
from it and making those contributions. Like I love that. And I think the kind of inner tug of war pull in one direction is wanting to give them the thing I needed when I was their age. Like what I needed teachers to give to me, what I needed advocates and leaders to give me, that's what I want to give students and their parents and families. Like, hey, this is what I'm offering. This is what I noticed was missing for me. The things that help, I want to keep doing those things. But the things that
right.
hurt, I want to scratch them from the repertoire.
Where you are not just wanting, you are doing. And I want to applaud you, commend you. I don't
Appreciate
know
that.
all of your community work, but I do know some of it because you got me roped in on some of it when we were in college.
Hey, you know it.
Stu Pot especially. That was a
Oh man,
great
that's my heart,
experience.
man.
Yeah,
When people aren't hustling people and trying to hijack their hope by asking for things to get them connected. I love when the thing that we care about so much, you see somebody walking in it. And if Stu Pop was a person, that'd be my homie for life. because I see the real, like, wow, giving out so much more than you're ever going to receive. Like, they'll never be able to pay their staff what they give out to families and communities. Like, my children benefited from Stupot because of me. And
Right.
then they benefited by working there and scholarships from them, or just from all those people that care that work there. Iron still sharpening iron. Hey, it's going to be all right. All those affirmations from so many people that had been previously affirmed. There are children of Stupot staff that work with my children. It makes it
Right.
all worth it, bro. It makes it all worth it. I love
So
that place, man. I be trying
let's
to shout them
continue
out.
to let's continue to talk about Stupot.
Oh, for sure.
For the people who don't know, talk a little about what it is and where it's located.
Stupot Community Services is located in the heart of Jackson, right off of Capitol Street. You could walk to Jackson State, but you probably wouldn't want to, eh, unless you had an escort or some other people. It's cool though. Yeah,
If you know,
HBCU
you
family,
know.
we understand. Like, hey, we are in the soil, we outside.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
Stupot, not only is it right next, I mean, just super close, a stone's throw from the campus, it's arm's reach is in every school that surrounds Jackson State. So all
Right.
of those middle schools and high schools, it's supporting children and families inside of those. So women that are in abusive situations, they have safe spaces for them and their children. For men that are dealing with homelessness and addiction, they got safe spaces for them. They've got after school programs for the itty bitty ones all the way up through high school. And then they train up the high schoolers to train up the elementary and the middle schoolers. So it's like this cycle of serving that they just keep having. I mean, just as far as the meals, as far as assistance with bills, as far as the soup kitchen, the clothing closet. I am a fan of Stu Pot. Lala, Yolanda Kirkland, she on another level. 30 years it is. She's in the
Yeah.
soil. She outside for real. Her and Laquita, man. Solid people, man. Solid.
Big shout out to them.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for diving back in there because I mean, she's not just a Jackson State alumni and a fellow Midwestern, you know what I'm saying, coming from
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Midwest, but she's doing that work in this deep South soil. She's doing the work for community, not just for the South. It's like for families, for children, like lasting change. That the same thing that my new job is doing because I had to,
We'll jump into that.
yeah.
Hold on to that. We'll jump into
Forgive me, you know
that.
what I'm saying. I'm throwing the pump fake. It's just a pump fake. That's all.
Yeah, no, we'll jump in that. Big shout out to Stu Pot. It's
Absolutely.
so refreshing to see people not just talk it, but they live it and they walk it,
Absolutely.
right? So it's a beautiful thing. Speaking of another institution that's in the heart of Jackson, you're a proud graduate of Jackson State University.
The I love. Even though I'm in the garage, you see I'm still repping. And I know some people can be like, how you gonna play J State? Hey man, I gotta get it how I live, man. This
Hey,
is
it's
it
all
is what it
good
is, but it's in my heart. Even if you
for
can only
sure.
see part of the tiger, it is what it is.
It's all good. What did your HBCU experience mean to you personally, and how did it shape? How did it help shape your identity and purpose?
My HBCU experience, roots from my ancestors sprouted out of the soil and encapsulated me and carried me through some of the most challenging stages of my life and were interwoven in everything I did. In my business, I had professors call my room for me. I had professors check me and put me out of their classes, and I couldn't even return until we had a meeting. But but it was because of the level of care. People that had conversations with you about your life outside of a degree, like you might not live to see a degree if you keep making decisions like
Right,
this.
right,
Getting
right.
free meals in the cafeteria when my meal plan was off and I'm just a hungry father and student, and folks was like, because he's trying, I'm gonna make sure he eats. Man, that stuff meant everything. It
Yeah,
was a village. I can't I can't even quantify it, bro.
that's dope. That's dope. And they took care of you. They took care of me as well,
No,
man.
seriously.
You looked out for me after I graduated, and I was able to stay with you for a little bit, and
Hey,
then
it's all about the village, man, ultimately.
and then also You connected me with Big Sis, Sarah. Shout out to Sarah.
Big sis.
I
Hey,
wanted to
that's the
move to
reason I even got to
Dallas.
Jackson State. Big
Yeah,
sis. She paved the
I
way.
want. Yeah, no, I wanted to move to Dallas. She was already in Dallas, and I stayed with her for about 5 weeks, and it was crazy, man. Looking back, finding a gig in 5 weeks, and getting on my feet that quickly, that was crazy, man. But it happened. The stars aligned. I had God on my side, and it worked out. She was a
Absolutely.
catalyst to that transitional period for me, and I appreciate you, sir. Thank you, big sis,
She's solid like that. That
for
she
sure.
is.
As someone with more than 30 years in youth advocacy, education, and violence prevention, what do you believe young people need most right now?
Honestly, they need adults that are a lot more transparent, but adults that are transparent with plans. I think sometimes we can be transparent and it's just like taking trips down memory lane. Hey, I remember this. And there's nothing wrong with an amazing narrative and explaining this narrative, and you can captivate people and capture their attention. But the narrative, for the sake of helping them navigate through those challenges without having to actually go through them.
Right,
It's like I'm a firm believer that the experiences of others are the best teachers. Because I mean, just imagine like when we're taking these chances, right? These
right,
experiences. If the chance you're taking is with Russian roulette, there's a chance you may never bounce back from that. So why not learn that from somebody else? So it burns me up when they say experience is the greatest teacher. Let them bump their heads. Depending on what they bumping their head against, they might never bump their head again. I would much rather you observe my scars. Now, if you choose to go get your own collection of scars, but I want to share mine with you, and not
yeah,
just the scars, but the other side of healing and the work that it took to close these sores so that I wasn't
right,
limited in life. So, um, I think they need transparent adults that are willing to model structure. And when I say structure, I don't want to be vague. Structure for how do I make it through a day? I might not be able to tell you how do you get your dream job? How do you get to live a fancy? But I can tell you how do I get through a challenging day? One breath at a time. Sometimes after a couple of screams, might be some tears, might be a prayer, might be a phone call of some support like, hey, I really need to talk. I might have to go for a walk, but being able to explain how we get through this stuff. Because this is an area where I feel like the church loses a lot. I feel like far too often the church can be so structured that it teaches people how to be churched and not how to have the strength and encouragement from this church village when they're away from the church, and how to use that to galvanize other people, to care for other people and make decisions that impact more than just themselves. It's like nowadays it's like the church is almost just a club or a brand, and it's like if that's my church, that's my clique. What up? Pull up on me, and you could do all of that, but if I'm not serving other people and caring for others without a camera, without me telling the world that I did it, these
right.
things that I'm getting everything, I'm getting my praise right there. When I show the whole world 50 videos of me passing out dollars or what I'm handing or the advice I'm giving, uh, they don't need a hero. They need people who have been harmed and have a track record of what that healing process looks like and sharing that. That's the game or that this generation is missing. I need the what does the healing process look like? Because it's some ugly stuff along that road to healing that you're not even gonna want to do. That's
Right,
gonna hurt. That's gonna make you look weak. And without that part, you don't heal. And you stay in
right.
the same place like a baby with a dirty diaper that don't get changed. That stink coming out eventually, either intentionally or unintentionally.
With that being said, you are the founder of Mind Over Barriers LLC.
Yes, sir.
What inspired you? I think you talked about it a little bit, but what inspired you to create it, And what impact do you hope it continues to make in the lives of youth and family?
You know what? Mind Over Barriers LLC is a consulting firm that is designed to just, I want to be an outline of what inspiring high risk individuals looks like. Because like I'm literally the data, and I work with the data pool. I've been working with and in the data pool for 30 plus years. So having that, I feel like I have a cheat code being a former short bus rider myself. I feel like I've been around special education, but I've been around individuals that were diagnosed with mental health issues and ones that had all the signs and weren't, or were labeled something wrong. Like I was considered one of the worst behavior problems in schools I was in, but no one thought, what if we give him the same test we're giving these other three students? I remember one school I went to, there were four of us in the class. We all sat in cubicles. One, four, three white, one black. My code was like behaviorally impaired. All three of them, attention deficit hyperactive disorder. They're treated like little princes who just need support and care.
Right.
And they get sent to mainstream to their classes and extra recess. Everything that's positive about special education, I saw my three ADHD guys get. I'm the behavior problem. So they treat me like an inmate. Get this check mark, get this check mark, walk with this group, show us compliance. So you're preparing me for this school to prison pipeline. You're giving me the structure and you're showing me in my face, hey, because their label is different and their color is different, we're going to treat them different in your face where it's just four of y'all in a class. Like, to see it in my face like that, it's like, wow. So having that experience all the way up until becoming a teacher and being able to
Right.
see all of these different students, oh my goodness. Mind Over Barriers was my opportunity to speak to and be what students needed, and a support to parents that are just like, I've done everything I can. This child, and guess what? It ain't even over yet. Because when we peel back the layers, like Mind Over Barriers helps people see that their child, this high risk child, is just an over soaked sponge. They've been soaking up so much stuff. And when pressure bust pipes, the stuff that's coming out, can you blame the sponge for what they soaked up? Because mom and dad, your house is the container. Your
Right.
neighborhood is the container. Your church is the container. They soaking from these places that you're taking them or that you have them. So do you blame the stinky sponge, or do we call out what they soaked up and where they soaked it? And so Mind Over Barriers is that description.
Fantastic. So, if I'm hearing you correctly, based on your experience in the educational system, based on your experience at the church, you saw a void and you saw a need, and you wanted to address that need with your
Absolutely. I mean, I really want
LLC.
to bridge that gap. I want to be the go between schools, churches, careers, and I want to be the barrier between all of them and the criminal justice system. I want to be a barrier. I want to be the barrier that stops them from getting there and makes them pump that mental muscle and mind so that they excel in something else, somewhere else, all the way to the cosmos, infinity and beyond, in whatever positive, life changing, life saving avenue that they want to pursue.
That's
But
beautiful.
it's not a wasted mission. Like I'm evidence. I'm living proof of that grace.
That's beautiful. Let's touch on this a little bit more because I want to, while we're here, what area do you serve as far as MOB, mind over barriers? Is there a particular area? Is it
I'm the
virtual? Is it
CEO. I'm the founder. We do specifically, I do speaking engagements, but I like to have workshops. And in these workshops, I'm trying to facilitate a discussion with not just the young people, but I want to have young people have conversations with themselves about why they're dealing with the anger, fear, and pain and the sources of that, but also what environments that they're feeling these things in and how to navigate through these different environments. But then also to be able to be that bridge where parents can have this conversation with me, but then also have that conversation with their child, and those separate conversations that lead us back to a roundtable discussion where this wall where I don't understand my child at all, and not even knowing this child's been holding in that divorce from kindergarten, or this child's been holding in that one angry time where you said, "Oh, I wish I didn't have a child." Like that,
Right.
those things that leave these invisible gashes underneath our armor that nobody can see. And those gashes, those are weeping sores. Those are bleeding wounds that nobody sees. And because people don't see them, they underplay them and devalue them like these children and their families aren't hurting. And so I want to expose the scars, but I want to talk about what does the healing process look like? Because there's hurt along the road to healing, and
Right.
being able to walk through not just my experience, but in some of the just my 30 years of experience and these trainings I've been to, there are so many other experiences of so many people that are different from mine, but still were plagued by all the same anger, fear, pain, depression, anxiety, all of these things that push us away from exerting pain, breathing that stuff out. Anytime we suppress it and hold it in, we're just waiting for the pressure to bust the pipe. It's
Yes,
time to
sir.
take all of that pressure and fuel our dreams with that
Yes.
pressure.
Yes, sir. I want to we're going to come back to that. I just want to make sure people can reach out to you in the proper manner if they want
Absolutely.
to. It sounds like you're willing and ready to take this nationally and travel if you need to. So we'll touch on that a little bit later.
Gotcha.
You use writing, poetry, and even hip hop as tools for healing and connection. How has creative expression helped you process your own story and help others to do the same?
Creative expression gave me a freedom to scream about things that I would cry and suffer about in silence. Like it was this vehicle that said you have permission to reveal your scars the way you want to, and not feel ashamed. Um, I actually had already done it by the time I was experiencing what it was. So, pardon me, it wasn't something that I had laid out like I want this to be therapeutic, but from the time it happened with me in 97, at my most vulnerable times in life, being able to write it or talk about it and spit it have been those releases. It was like as if I was vomiting emotional residue that was tearing me apart. Um, and it really helped me reevaluate what I was listening to, how much of different things I was consuming. Because the more I was writing, I started noticing the just little nuances. Like it might be a rhyme similar to one of my favorite artists, or it might be something that was kind of picturesque from a movie or video I saw. And some of that stuff was so toxic. And it was like, I looked at some of the stuff I used to write and I'm like, I'm glad I never, just was so inebriated. I said, hey, this is a great idea. Let's make this a
Right.
book.
Right.
Because I would have humiliated myself. People that love me would have been mortified. Like,
Yeah.
what in the world? Because some of those things were just meant for my therapeutic literary
Yeah.
expression.
Yeah.
It wasn't to share. I didn't even understand it. I needed to get that out in that moment. And
Yeah.
sometimes, depending on what state I was in, I might have been depressed and under the influence. So some of that
Right.
stuff was super saturated with ignorance. Like, I read some of that stuff like,
Yeah.
man, what were you talking about? Like, but it felt good to be like, you know what? Whatever it was, I got it out that day.
Right.
Whatever
Right.
that was, I was fighting with it and it came out. So whether it is in the form of some controlled bars in some verses, or whether it
Yeah.
is just a poetic expression, being able to,
Right.
or even just a detailed narrative about something,
Yeah.
being able to get that out, whether it is type, write, or mouthpiece, has been
Right.
pivotal. Absolutely.
Speaking of you being a writer, you've got an upcoming book. Ain't no bus fare for the short bus. Described as a raw, poetic journey through reflection, regret, redemption, and hip hop rhetoric. What inspired you
Abs-
to write this book, and what do you hope readers take away from it?
this book was inspired out of my disappointment with myself for not having finished my novel, the Long Ride on the Short Bus. I started working on that in 2005, and just had not been faithful with it. Right, thoughts about making it happen, and seasons where I would get so much done. Like at one point, 287 pages, 12-point font, single spaced, everything that I could remember from as far back as I could remember until 2012 was all canonized in that. And then I revised it, and my insecurities were just battling with me. And then this fear of getting sued and all these things, just so much. And the reality that I'm not guaranteed to make it, to put this book out. And
Mm-hmm.
I said, I have to have something for people I care about and people that, I love and might love me and might not even understand me. When I leave this place, I want my wife and kids and the people closest to me to understand why I hurt the way I hurt and the things that helped me heal, but even why I was the way I was, so that if I harm them, even in my absence, I'll get some forgiveness. And so I took all these personal pieces that I was too ashamed to put out before, and I read them because they go all the way back to that first piece, the definitely that Lost in the Labyrinth of Life, about MJ and my story up until now. And the ones that were older, I just kind of read through them and then polished them so that they made more sense or more cohesive. But I kept them intact with what they were back in 97, 29 years ago. So I've got, it's just this whole volume of poems from 29 years ago, my first real auto therapeutic expression, up until now, with the most recent one I wrote, Leo, Leo was the last poem, the most recent one I wrote.
Gotcha. To be clear, your first piece was, would you say it's autobiography?
My first piece was, I would say, autobiographical, but it wasn't like a cohesive autobiography. Like, it wasn't like, whoa, you really gave this great summative narrative of yourself from birth to now. It was like sections.
Gotcha.
It was just like,
Gotcha.
it was different snapshots, but definitely a collection of autobiographical snapshots of my life
Gotcha.
and his life to be. And really, I was speaking into my hopes and his future, because he wasn't born yet. So I'm
Gotcha.
speaking to this unborn baby, and I'm telling him all about why I hurt and why I am the way I am, but also my dreams for him and how I don't want to hurt him.
Right. And would you say this current book is still a reflection of your life in the form of the poems that you've written from?
Absolutely.
Gotcha.
My life and lives of people that I witnessed firsthand, like no secondhand. Everything that's inside, if I did not go through it, I saw it. I witnessed
Gotcha.
it. So it's not other people's perspectives. And of course, I'm going to change names and combine people,
Right. Right.
because I don't want to take somebody else's pain and tell their story and harm them. So to protect them, I've made whole scenarios that were different people's instance, and it'll be one scenario in a day.
Gotcha.
Because I still want to,
Gotcha.
like, their anonymity, that means everything. Like, the fact that people, that I see people's lives and they're hurt, it's like, whoa, that's still theirs. But I witnessed it, so I still got to deal with my hurt
Right.
in a way that doesn't harm them.
And so you mentioned short bus earlier when you were talking about
Yes.
education, and you also have that in the title of your current piece as well. For the young people, because I'm sure people in our generation understand the meaning behind short bus, but break that down. You alluded to it earlier, but I just want you to be clear about what is, when you say short bus, what is the meaning of that? What do you
All of
mean?
my references to short bus are me kind of offering this description of my experience while being in special education, being under the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act and having to have those services. But I focus so much on the short bus because in the same way that bus was insufficient, incomplete, and an eyesore, the quality of service I received in special education services was incomplete, insufficient. Like it was almost like an illicit pharmaceutical. It was bad medicine. It was bad medicine, wrong prescription, and a lot of times it was the wrong administrators. It was the wrong healthcare professionals in those positions. People that just needed jobs were in sensitive positions with a very, very vulnerable group that they had. And I was part of that vulnerable group.
And yet you made it through that horrific educational
Oh,
matriculation.
absolutely. And let me be total transparency. The grand scale, the large scale of special education as I experienced it was horrific, and it was systemic. It was the perfect amusement park ride from failing school to future housed inmate. It was perfect. You can go straight from sped
Pipeline.
to different behavior issues to okay, now because I got taken out of school in cuffs, now I got a juvenile record. Now I made a mistake right after the juvenile record, but it was a sponge. But now because I kept doing it, now they're gonna open up my juvenile record, and now everything it's a landslide. Now you got a whole bunch of time that I'm gonna have to deal with, and I'm gonna be building furniture for HBCUs, and I'm gonna be working on farms that provide all of the produce for McDonald's and Wendy's and Ruby Tuesdays and these other places. Yeah,
Now you made it out. Would you
absolutely,
say you had an advocate during that process to help you?
absolutely,
Who would that
absolutely.
be?
There
Who would
were
that
these
be?
diamonds in the rough. There were these diamonds in the rough. The first diamond in the rough, I shout her out every chance I get. It's these three ladies really I shout out a lot. But the first one, Miss Wiseapple. We're not talking about race. However, if you had to guess the race of Miss Watson. Okay, we can leave it right there.
Uh,
What's known don't have to be said. But she was at my school. She was at Howard Kennedy Elementary School in the middle of the hood. She could see Hilltop housing projects and Pleasant View projects, and them things was like the Carter times two, and I lived 3 blocks up the hill from the school. She's right there. This woman was such an amazing teacher. She made me think in Laffy Taffy and Skittles colors all over the classroom. Like every day I was flipping a bowl of Fruity Pebbles and trying to taste the rainbow. She made education so sweet. I mean, I kept a mouthful of cavities in this lady's class. Like, you thought you were brilliant to break graham crackers because she celebrated everything. So I always felt affirmed. I mean, I felt amazing. I felt like a scholastic superhero in this lady's class. And so Miss Wiseapple was instrumental in giving me a love for education and creativity. Oh, she was all of that. When you were soaking up from her, oh man, all you could squeeze out is lemonade mixed with Sprite. Do you know what that does for a child? Man, that's the chronic for a kid. Lemonade and Sprite.
for sure, for
That's
sure.
how I felt in her class. She was like,
That
with honey bun juice on every assignment. Fresh honey bun juice.
fantastic.
So that's Miss Wiseapple.
Yes, you had. You said you had met possibly two other people. Would you care to
And
mention?
then Miss Washington. That lady was the truth. Miss Washington got in my face. She was like, Micah Briggs, you do not run this class. And you're gonna close that mouth of you. I mean, she would get in my face. She was so loving
Right.
and strict. She was all those things. She showed up at my house. She called to say
Wow.
she was coming. So I unplugged the phone. She was like, I'm gonna call you right back. Because I said my mom was asleep. She was like, well, wake her up and I'll call right back. I said, okay. So I unplugged the phone. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
what were you thinking, teacher? This lady showed up unannounced at my house.
Yeah.
And I didn't let her in. So she
Right.
kept banging on the door. I said, ma'am, my mom is asleep. She gotta go to work. She was like, nothing's more important than family. And she kept banging on the door like it was an emergency.
Yeah.
And my mama woke up and came down and had a whole meeting with Miss Washington on our couch on a
Right.
Sunday, on her day off.
Wow.
She was in the hood next to the dope man. She was
Right.
at my house with no
Wow.
fear. And I
Wow.
mean, I love that lady. I remember I saw her in a grocery store one day and she just broke into tears. She was just like, Micah Briggs,
Yeah.
I'm so proud of you. Because I had just gotten, I had just come back from a semester at Langston. So I
Yeah.
had been away for college, and she saw me working at Baker's supermarket and was just so happy. She was in tears. And so that's the second one that was amazing. And then there's Miss Narrett. Miss Narrett is a principal from Central High School. She kept me in school as long as she could before I got expelled. When I say that lady looked out for me, Miss
Yeah.
Narrett was amazing.
Yeah.
Like, I could have been expelled so many times
Right.
from Central High School, but she saw so much in me, and she made me believe I was better than my behavior. And
Yeah.
when I say, I mean, I wasn't doing anything like wild. I wasn't selling drugs. I wasn't
Right.
abusing alcohol, nothing like that. I was just trying to see girls. I was chasing girls around hallways and
Right.
just being a goofball like Revenge of the Nerds in school days. I was goofy, and that's not rewarded. You know, there's punishments for that. But she even tried to save me when they were going to expel me. It was a toy gun, a toy cap gun, not a
Yeah.
real one, a
Yeah.
plain one. But they
Yeah.
said, zero tolerance, you're expelled. Because they was just tired of me. I'm like, a
Right.
toy gun? You gonna put me out
Yeah.
of school? And I got expelled my senior year. And Miss Narrett still stood up for me.
Right.
It didn't help because the principal said, when she tried to let me stay and just suspend me, the
Yeah.
principal said, no, expulsion. He
Yeah.
overruled her.
Yeah.
But she tried to keep me in school. And I
Right.
never forgot her for that.
That's
Yeah,
dope.
Miss
That's
Narrett.
dope.
Miss Wiseapple, Miss Washington, she got married and became Miss Barber. And then Miss
Yeah.
Narrett. Yes. And this
Fantastic.
one lady whose name I forget. I mean, there was a lady, she worked at this place, the Wesley House. So when kids would get like long-term suspensions or
Mm-hmm.
expulsions and they still needed schooling, he
Mm-hmm.
would have to go to some alternative environment. Well, this lady had an alternative environment at her site. This woman, I can't think of her name, but she was so amazing. And she was a special education teacher, but she treated me with so much humanity. Her whole goal was, I'm gonna stay on your son. You are brilliant.
Right.
You got these people thinking you're crazy, but
Right.
you are brilliant. She
She saw
spoke this
something in
into
you.
me every time I saw her. Anytime I would just embrace her, and I hate that I'm drawing a blank on her name because
It's
like her
okay.
husband was like in politics and different things, and so she was kind of known, but she was a soldier because she fought for the students. When she got her house built, she said, I want y'all to dream about something. I want you to shoot for something. We're getting this house built the way we want it because we kept fighting for it and working. Do you see what I do with y'all every day?
Right.
And it
Right.
made sense. Like, you work long days. You're here before me. You're here after I leave. Car's still there, like, but I'm worth it. You driving that nice car to the hood to work with all the kids that are expelled and suspended. Because
Yeah.
that's all that was at her school. It was like
Yeah.
9 of us.
Right.
And the man, I forgot the woman's name, but she worked at the Wesley House. And I love that sister was so amazing. She was
Right.
amazing.
Speaking, you just spoke about your younger self. The
Yes.
version of you that was dealing with pain, confusion, and destructive choices. What would you say to that young man now?
It's all true. Everything that you are feeling is true, but it doesn't define you. And you're not the only one that's ever been through this. You're not the scum of the earth. And you still loved, even with all of the ugliness that you feel like in all of that. Man, come here and give me some love, man. I would tell him I love him because that's what he didn't feel.
Right.
When I was younger, I wouldn't smile with my teeth because I was so self-conscious about all the spaces in my teeth and stuff. And people
Right.
always had jokes. Like, my sister used to be like, man, close your mouth before I have to play them piano keys. Dun, 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 dun. Like, my sister was coming for me. Like, we
Ruthless.
came for each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so,
Yeah.
like, literally, like, you can only hear African booty scratchers so many times.
Yeah.
Or, like, you
It
cute
built
for a dark skin.
character. Yeah. It
Like,
built
I've never,
character.
like, the worst compliment ever. Boy, you cute for a dark skinned guy.
Yeah.
So you hear it so much,
Right.
you mess around, start believing that stuff and feeling some type of way about yourself. So I would tell him how much I love him and how all of those emotions he was feeling is real,
Yeah.
but it ain't me.
Yeah.
It's not me. Those things never were me. Those things happen to me. They aren't me. Being able to understand that, You don't have to walk with a overstuffed sack full of shame on your back all the time.
Right. This is a great segue. Young men, you just address how you would speak to the younger version of yourself. You're actually working with young men now.
Absolutely.
Before we get to that, if you want to highlight kind of your progression to that point, I know technically, I guess you still are a teacher, but kind of talk through some of the highlights of you being in education and where you started, maybe. And you don't have to mention everything because you've been
Which
through.
is kind of like a
It's
timeline.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. The the earliest memory I have, like in that environment, was volunteering at the boys club in Omaha, Nebraska. Um, I had been no, it was working with this program called the Sun Dogs. I had just graduated high school and I needed a job. Was trying to make some money in the summertime. I was getting ready to go to the army, but I needed something to do up until the time. I wasn't leaving until July 1st. And so they had this program called Sun Dogs where they would have this purple shack with all your equipment in it and a notepad, and it would be near a community center. So you would have lunch in the community center, and you might get to use the gym sometimes, but most of your activities were outside, and you worked with whatever kids came to the park that day. They signed up, and you worked with them, and y'all had fun, and you did activities with them. So like seeing those children want to keep coming back, and if I missed a day, they were sad and missed me, and like that connection. That was my first time like seeing little people look up to me for good reasons.
Right,
And I was, fresh out of high school, like, man, and they're looking up to me like I'm a grown up. I'm like, hey, you are a grown up. You just don't have any grown up responsibilities yet.
right,
But so the Sun Dogs was my introduction. And so after the Sun Dogs, I went away to the Army and I was losing it. Depression, wrestling with oppressive system and racist bosses that have rank that can say whatever. Like it was wild. People would chase you down just to get you to salute them. Like it were people that would follow me just so they could get in front of me. So I would have to salute them, like because I knew how to get around. I would go the long way just to avoid everybody. And people were like catching on, like, "Oh, you gonna salute me?" It was just ridiculous.
right,
But as I'm spiraling out of control in the military, I I started back going to church and I started teaching Sunday school. And it was healing me. Teaching Sunday school was healing me. But you know what? I can even earlier, my first time with children under my influence was as a kid as a babysitter. Like I used to babysit my cousins, but when I moved in with my dad for high school, there was an organization when kids wanted jobs and you could like cut grass or help grocery stores or hospitals or you could babysit and you would have to they would call you and they would make all these arrangements and you would watch their kids. I started watching these two children, these two white children. We had nothing in common,
right,
but they looked up to me so much and they protected me and I protected them. And it was like having them look up to me and know that they were safe with me meant a lot.
right,
So with them, those kids I babysat and my cousins that I babysat, and then the Sun Dogs, and then the kids in the Sunday school class. And then from the kids in the Sunday school class, I think I ended up doing Sun Dogs again because I got kicked out the military and I went back home without a job, looking for work
right,
before college. And I did Sun Dogs again, and then I really got frustrated and kind of practiced the illicit street game for a second just to see what it was like because I
right,
was just frustrated and just taking a chance. And that I was 4 months and done. I was worst dope boy on the planet. And then I felt bad because I was thinking about all these kids' parents who were addicts.
right,
And so I wanted to volunteer somewhere. People wouldn't let me volunteer because I didn't have a court order. Every place I went to volunteer, they were like, well, what judge has you here? And I'm like, no judge has me here. Well, are you on probation or parole? Like, no. Is this restitution? I didn't even know what restitution was.
right,
But I just wanted to volunteer. And it was that hard. And so finally I was allowed to volunteer at the Boys and Girls Club in a blood neighborhood, not far from where on the north side, but it's an area I never would go to because of just the opposition, not my opposition, but opposition neighborhoods. People treat people different, and I didn't want no misunderstandings. Like people I went to elementary school with, I'm not affiliated, but if they see you on the other side, it's a problem. But because I was going to that boys club and people saw me, I got a pass
Right.
on both sides, and those kids were looking up to me, and they were like, "Hey, man, thanks for coming." Kids would thank me for coming, and that was way different than the kids whose parents I was not helping because they would just look at you so cold, like,
Right.
please don't give this to my mama. Please don't. My
Right.
daddy, that's gonna be the light bill money. Like the stuff the kids would say through their eyes,
Right.
and even that, looking at kids and having to be honest with myself about how I didn't help their parents or siblings, those are the things that pierced my heart and made me say, for the rest of my life, I've got to be connected to this.
Right.
I've got to be a part of the healing process. And I've only been working in youth development and education my entire 30 years from prior to graduation and now.
And those experiences, it sounds like, was the catalyst for you being in education. The sundog, the Sunday school, the
Oh, absolutely.
babysitting, the community work, even the you know adverse effects of your street pharmacy career. It sounds like that was even the catalyst. The effect, the negative effects you saw
Oh,
having on the
absolutely.
yeah, yeah,
But you know what? Let me not, I don't even want to sell the experience short. Right after, you remember, it was only 4 years. I'm
right.
sorry, 4 months that I
4 months,
dabbled in that game, but that's
right,
still, I don't get no pass for that. I went straight from that to working as a janitor. Right. I was volunteering and doing the janitorial work. And then I went away to school. And so while I was away in school, I volunteered with the TRIO programs. So I got to work with youth again and I really enjoyed it. But then while I was in school, that first year of college, these folks came and had a whole week long speaking thing. It was like a revival. The folks from Kids Across America camps. It was Eric Williams and Renee Rochester. And they came and they spoke and I was like, that camp sounded like fun. It was a Christian inner city sports camp that
right,
was just like this combination of my spiritual convictions with sports and activity, but centered around kids that come from neighborhoods like me. So I was
right,
like, so now instead of you having to be the charity case at some camp where people treat you funny, the camp was for you. Man, I worked that summer and got hooked. I got hooked. Like I was working off and on with Kids Across America camps and volunteering from that was summer '96 all the way. The last time I ended up volunteering was I think it was 2017 because me and my wife were there visiting with the kids. We were just
right,
visiting, and somebody messed their ankle up, and they couldn't work in the cabin like they were. So
right.
I held the cabin down as a
Cool.
volunteer while the person was out of it. But like that environment of people whose goal is to, hey, wherever you from, these kids from all over, I want you to experience what fun is like, but what your faith is like, and let's mix that with you not gonna be at this camp forever. What is my strategy for when I get back home in
Right,
dealing with all the stuff that was heavy on me before? Like,
right.
how do I deal with that? What communities can I plug into? Like, being able to plug kids into resources in the places that they're coming from so that
Yeah,
when you disconnect from that matrix, you plug it into a new matrix with good information.
right.
It was that powerful. So, and
Cool.
then going from that, it was from KAA to volunteering um, with what club was that? Miss Rush was over it. Tiger Pride Connections.
Yeah, yeah,
Miss Rush was having us connected with Tiger Pride, so we had to, if you were getting scholarships because of Tiger Pride, you had to do your volunteering and everything, and
yeah.
observation hours, working as a hyper major and an education
Right,
major. I was always getting connected to
right,
children, and then working for AmeriCorps and this powerful sister named Della Archie, who was just like making sure that I stayed connected, and
right.
that's what ended up connecting me with Yolanda Kirkland, Lala, and
Stu Pot.
Stupat.
Dope,
And that
dope.
relationship has been like a vital part of my village since '99.
Dope. So let's fast forward because you have an extensive resume
Oh
of
my goodness.
experience.
And that's just the places I got fired from. That's just, you
All
know what I'm
right,
saying?
let's fast forward to the work you're doing right now. Talk a little bit
Gotcha.
about that.
Right now, it's like an out of body experience, right? Right now, I work at Oakley Youth Development Center. And so it used to be a detention center, and now it's not. So it is this hyper focus on wraparound support that is centered around where did you get punctured and how many times did you get punctured with all this trauma, and what do you need to work through that so that you don't leave the same way that you came here. And so after they are just encapsulated with resources and opportunity for individual therapy, group therapy, um, technical assistance as far as CTE, diploma. I mean, just with all of those things, when they finish successfully, their records are expunged. So even though a court, and in this environment, no guns, no
Wow.
nightsticks, no tasers,
Wow.
right? De escalation, verbal de escalation, spatial de escalation, giving people space,
Right.
volume de escalation, like not going to the worst case scenario. Like when I tell you I love this job,
That's
oh my
beautiful.
goodness, I love this job. And I've been being at this job, it convicted me because God's voice is constant.
Yes.
The issue a lot of times is my reception in my ears. Like I be turning the Beats headphones down sometimes. Like I be muting them because I want to do the me thing at times.
Right. Right.
But I was convicted. Like, hey, this is the ideal job. This is the ideal situation for you. And I was like, it absolutely is. And I was naming all the reasons why, like the principal, the superintendent, the director of programming, and all these people, all these other teachers. That I'm giving all this credit. I was like, well, hey, thank them all. So what actually helps you while you're in all that? I hadn't even realized every day before I go to this, it's a 45-minute drive.
Right.
So every day before I even get in the car to get there, I'm like, I'm getting up and I'm just praying for this to be a safe drive and a good day. And I'm praying for, because my kids are going a different direction.
Hmm.
My wife's going a different direction. It's so much. And you're not going to see me for a while. I'm not going to see you for a while. So I have to be more time conscious because this being a facility with children that are sent there by the state that live there, you can't be late. You got to be, there's no grace period. You got to get there and be at your spot because people's lives are in the balance. Like you're a vital part of a working system of support. So the urgency to get there so much faster and earlier, less anxiety and stress to get to work because I'm getting there earlier. But the preparation, I'm listening to the word for 45 minutes every day like it's a movie. And
Right.
so if I don't understand something, I just play it over again because I'm listening to this 260 days of the Bible in chronological order.
Oh
So some of the
wow.
books and chapters are, when I say it's a movie that is wild, it's so real. Like I'm thoroughly enjoying it, but so I'm getting to work with this totally different attitude,
Right.
this totally different mindset. So my break, I'm like, I'm trying to read through this little devotion so that I don't cuss somebody
Mm.
out. Like I'm being
Right.
so intentional. And guys like, you could have did all of this at the previous job. There's only one common denominator at the
Yeah.
places that you really don't like,
Yeah.
and it's you. And I
Right.
was like, ugh, okay.
With
But
that
that
being
doesn't take
said,
away
with
from
that
how
being
much I
said,
love working here.
don't get fired, my guy. Don't get. Hey, keep this.
I did not listen. I did not get fired from my last job. I
I know.
worked there
Yeah.
11 years
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
resigned. I'm in a new place where I feel embraced and celebrated as a valued team member, but
And not just tolerate it.
I should have been doing the work on
Yeah.
me more
Yeah.
because I get to exert this. I don't have perfect days every day. Every child is not going to be your favorite, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and even the child that's your favorite, you're here for a
Yeah.
reason, and you're going to
Right.
show me some days like, oh, this is why I'm here.
Yeah.
And guess what? And I got to remember, I'm here to be a part of the medicine.
Right.
I'm not here to escalate the situation. So
Right.
being able to not take things personal, and I was like, dude, these are all shots, like shots, like, hey, you could have been doing this previously,
Right.
but that doesn't take away from I absolutely love what they're doing here, why they do it, and what it does for the population of the high risk population
Yeah.
that it serves. It's powerful beyond words,
Yeah.
and I'm
Fantastic.
glad I get to be a part of it.
Fantastic. In conclusion, for young people who may feel stuck in trauma, bad environments, or cycles they do not know how to escape, what message do you want them to hear from your story?
You are loved, even when you don't feel like it. You are not alone. You can't be silent. If you're silent, the suffering gets suppressed, and all it does is just kind of simmer and saute, and eventually you cooked, and it is pain. It doesn't just get better, but you can contribute to your healing, whether that is through writing, whether that is through speaking about it. But above everything else, there in the same way that you go get help when the washer and dryer break down, when the electricity, you're going to call Entergy, you call the experts in the field for everything, computer techs, the geek squad. Yeah, your cholesterol is up. I need to go see this doctor. Please, there are mental health professionals that I used to think were the ops, and now they are essential part of not just my village, but my routine of making sure that my mind is as healthy as my body. And my body ain't all that healthy. So I'm trying to get my mind even more healthy. And the way you do that is by seeking that support because it's there for you. You do not have to suffer. There is therapy. There are support groups and those group environments, and there are support agencies that can get you connected to whatever resources that you need. But don't continue to suffer, and stop blaming yourself for the way you hurt. But you don't got to stay hurt.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Micah. I want to give you your flowers right now. As you mentioned throughout this, you've been in education and youth advocacy for 30 years. You have been a tremendous advocate for young people, even through your trauma and at times destructive, just self destructive behavior. You have always been a catalyst and an advocate for young people through the community work as far and as education as well. So I want to thank you for the work you have done. I want to thank you for the work you are doing right now. And I appreciate you. I know throughout it all, your heart has always been in the right place for young people and the work you're doing. So I want to applaud you and thank you and give you your flowers. Thank you, sir.
Hey, I appreciate that. It means a lot, especially when it comes from someone who know me on that level, like seen some of the extreme lows,
All
and
right.
then some of, I mean, just you've seen some of those peaks and valleys in my life. So
Yes,
like
sir.
those less than favorable seasons where it's like, man, can I act like that didn't happen? Like, so it means a lot coming from people that actually have that history of this narrative. That's not just that guy, but nah, the relationship. So yeah, I
For
appreciate
sure.
that. I receive it. I receive
For
it for
sure.
sure. And
Thank you,
let me
sir.
give you
Nah.
your flowers for following through on something that you've been talking about and making it a reality. Like it's not something that you're planning anymore. Like the banners are up, you posted up, ready, and you really, dude, you putting in the work, brother, and it's gonna come in time, man. I have seen your evolution over time as a person in the way that you communicate and deal with life's unexpected challenges, and this is by far one of your best rebuttals to life's challenges. Like what? Nah, I'm gonna dig in, and I'm still gonna talk my talk, and I'm gonna
Right.
do what I dream. So
Right.
keep doing that. Your daughters see this, bro. No
For
matter
sure.
what.
For sure. Speaking of daughters, let's talk about your family. We want to save some space for your
Oh,
family.
absolutely, brother. Come on
Let's
now.
open the floor.
I'm here
Let's
for that.
talk
I'm here for
about
that.
your
Oh
whole
yeah.
family. Let's start with the queen of the castle. Let's start with
The
her and
queen of the
and
castle. I met her
yeah,
25 years ago.
that's
And
dope.
look, and we probably broke up like 25 times between then and now. And now we're about this next month. You know, my longest relationship was 11 months.
Yeah,
And now this will be 10 years of marriage.
that's dope. That's dope, man.
10 years. And
Beautiful
I haven't
thing.
been shot or stabbed by my wife yet.
Yet,
Hey, that wasn't a.
yet being the operative word. Yeah. All right. What's up, Aaron? Shout out to Aaron. All right.
Wow.
Let's talk about the kids, man.
So
Let's talk.
what are we going in? You know what I'm saying?
Let's
You know the kids.
go.
What
Let's go from the youngest, cause that's fresh in your mind,
I
cause
got you.
they're active in your life. That this is
Oh
gonna
yeah,
help you out.
active is the key word.
From
Asada
youngest,
Amira is active. She is 5 years old, and my hair started to gray like President Obama's second term since she's been born. She tests all the limits. She is a habitual line crosser,
yeah,
and yes,
cool.
she's something else.
All
She's
right,
different.
the
Yeah, I don't.
baby. Continue on after the baby.
So then we have Uriah Ezekiel. Had to name him Uriah. And listen, his heart, he got that heart for real. He is he is a humanitarian to the fullest. He loves God. He loves people. If we could stop and feed every homeless person in the world, he would do like this dude. He is going to be major in whatever he does. Like that guy, he cracks me up. I see so much of myself in him, like the purity in him, and I'm just like, man, I remember with that innocence. Like, yeah, I remember those. You just got to
Right,
say something.
right.
He got the mouth. Oh, yeah, he got the, not being able to. Not one
Yeah.
more word, son. Oh, that word is coming. That word is coming. So that's
All right.
Uriah Ezekiel.
Keep it
Then
briefing, my
there is
bro. Keep it briefing, my bro. This can kind of skid through
I
him
got
a little bit.
so we got Cassidy. Cassidy, it's a dagger to the heart. I haven't seen my baby in 5 years. So she's my middle daughter. And I mean, according to the judges, we're supposed to have joint custody, but I can't get her mom to show up to court. And
Yeah,
in Louisiana, they have Napoleonic law. So after you send the sheriff a few times to serve it, if the person knows how not to be served, you're out of luck. So
that's
I mean,
cool.
I've never seen anything like it, but it's kind of where we are. So 5 years and counting. But I have a journal, and as I'm missing her, I just write her love letters so that one day when I get to see her, she'll see 5 years worth of time where I just kept writing her love letters.
Right.
And she just turned 10 on the 23rd.
Dope.
Happy birthday to you, baby girl. That's
Dope.
the bumblebee of the Briggs crew.
All
Then you
right.
have Jeremiah. Jeremiah Mackay is compassionate. He's full of laughs. He is my sense of humor. Like we are twins in our goofy ways, and I mean his smile gets me every time. Josiah, Josiah Hassim is coming for my height. He is 13 and he's right here, and
Wow.
he can wear my pants. Don't wear any more of my pants. I will
Wow.
get you pants that don't look like spandex. I promise. Yeah, he put on some jeans, and I was like, "We're not about to wear no genuine jeans. We're gonna take them things right off. We're not gonna do that."
That's funny.
Oh, it was bad, but that's my big boy. He's about to be 14.
Cool.
And then after Josiah, we have Malia Dawn. That is my beautiful black butterfly, the songbird. She was number two. She's the one that really made sure that I graduated
Right.
because she was born the year before I graduated. So it was
Cool.
like, let's go. It is go time. Right now, she is at the University of Mississippi, and she was in a master's program. She did great. Her first semester, 4.0, doing her thing. Never know that they do this. They just asked her if she wanted to be in a PhD program, and if she did, they pay for it. So she was in a master's program. Now she's in the doctoral program because that's my baby, and she making music, pop, pop,
That's my
knocking
guy,
them folks
baby.
out the way.
That's
Like
my
yeah, she
guy,
doing her
baby.
thing.
Yeah.
Oh man, going like she is part of the reason that the book came out
Cool.
because the reality She put out her first song her senior year of high school. And
Yeah.
I was like, wow, my baby is taking technology and letting her voice be heard and having courage. When I
Yeah.
first heard that first song she did, I was like, wow,
Yeah.
she's not going platinum with this, but she goes platinum in my heart because I'm like, the courage it takes to take you just the way you are, no filter, and
Yeah.
share it with people, especially when there's so much access to information and people can
Yeah.
respond and tell
Yeah.
you how they feel about your stuff. I was just, I was impressed and inspired. And that helped me get across my insecurities and share my poems with the world. So thank you. Butterfly wings still flying high, baby. And then I have another daughter. Her name is Kenya. And Kenya has married Micah Briggs Jr., and she's amazing. They were college sweethearts, and it turned into a straight up love story. And they just got married
Cool.
in October. They were the reason that we did not go to Vegas, and they are worth another Vegas trip. We could skip Vegas 50 times to see them tie the knot and commit to each other. And I mean, it's just,
Cool.
it was everything. Seeing my firstborn just take on the responsibility to say, I'm gonna, I'm gonna work at love, and
Cool.
I'm gonna try, and I'm gonna struggle through this with somebody I care about so much that let's do forever together. I'm so proud of my son, man. Oh my goodness.
That's
I'm a
dope.
blessed man with these babies. I'm a blessed man.
That's
Now
dope.
I got now my side babies that are my children. Like when you talk about Parker, Parker Owens, that's my guy, baby. And I got another guy, baby, who's a high school graduate. That's crazy. Crazy.
That's
Like,
dope. That's dope.
then I got Asia, who helped me not quit my job in New Orleans. When I was teaching there, she was such a resilient student. She made me step up. I was in the middle of a depression,
Yeah.
and I'm like, she's fighting through everything. Dude, come on now. You're gonna sink or swim. And
Right.
I literally started going back to my group therapy sessions because I was watching her fight for her life. And so Asia Polk and Winston Noyle, man, like these are like children that connected with me and became family with me. And like I know their families, and oh man, Winston's brothers, Gabe and Justin, and his mom, Miss Diane, like these folks have embraced me as family. And I mean, I love them all, love them all.
Dope. Dope. Well, thank you again for sharing some of your life and your life journey with the HBCU for You podcast. We appreciate you. And
Thanks
this,
for having this podcast and a platform for conversations and space like this. Like I this is my first time in a space like this, and it felt, I was nervous about it, right? Just like,
right?
but once we got into it, I literally, my feet are kicked out. I'm
Yeah,
chilling. Like I really am enjoying myself. Like this, it's not stress. It's just, it's like we back in the old apartment again. Like, oh man, we gotta go to work tomorrow.
no
We're gonna have to
doubt.
cut this conversation short
No doubt.
because
No
one of
doubt.
us is gonna be on the bicycle. Which one?
No doubt. No doubt. All right, brother. Thank you so much. And
Absolutely.
this has come to an end. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you.
All right, brother.
All right. Peace.